What's going on, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the Madhouse. And today we are talking about, well, people just having fun. We're talking about people who took first place. We're talking about people who made top cut, people who wanted to brag about their list. We're talking about a list that they say they solved Amber Steel aggro, that Amber Steel Rhino is no longer an issue because they have cracked the code on beating it. We're going to talk about that list. Today's video is all about highlighting players that just did really well at set champs and they're just happy with how they did. And that's what we're doing in today's video. This is people who reached out from week 1 and week 2. So remember, if you want to brag about how you did, brag about your spicy list, hit me up, okay? Join the Discord, hit me up in the YouTube comments, whatever you want to do, and let me help you brag about how you did, what you did, whatever it is. That's what we're here about, all right? Before we get going, Disney trivia question of the video. Taka is the real name of what villain? Okay, this is kind of going a little old school, but going a little new school for those of you that, well, may know. Last week's question was, what is Rapunzel's nickname from Mother Gothel? And that, of course, was Flower. So kudos to those of you that got it right in the comments. But let's jump into the first list. And the first list, of course, is a shout out to our boy Wayne. He shot us this in the Discord, and he wanted to talk about his list that he took first place. He got this wonderful Jafar champion mat that his daughter is holding up, and his top 8 mat, he made top 8, and in top 8 he was against 2-1 against Chernabog's Yin Sid Purple Steel, that quote unquote brooms Purple Steel list, and then in finals he beat a Purple Steel homebrew. So what seems to be quite a bit of Purple Steel in his local meta, or Purple Steel just doing well in that local meta, and it just goes to show Purple Steel, I think a lot of people are still sleeping on it despite the success that people are having with it. And when we look at his list, we're running the Zeuses. I think Zeus is definitely the way to go right now. It's a great way to answer Rhino. It's a great way to answer the Maui Half Sharks, 2 of the most popular and successful decks right now. But also, when we did the meta report last week, we saw how popular Purple is. Zeus also answering that Genie really well. Meanwhile, we have all the 1-drops to spam the field, Calhoun's to fight back against the aggro, Helga Sinclair does great against fighting back against the aggro, but also helps against those evasive decks. And then meanwhile, we have some burn. We've got the 4 goats, the 4 cobras, and the 2 roses. So 10 different opportunities for burn on top of the Pete bounce or the burn bounce. The deck just has what you need. It has draw, it has burn, it has those really just extremely powerful songs, it has draw power. Purple Steel, if you haven't tried it yet, give it a try, okay? You're not doing anything overpowered. Purple Steel, in my opinion, whether you're playing the aggro Doc version, we see Doc and Zeus in here. We don't see that often, but whether you're seeing the Doc version or the Rabbit and Zeus package, neither one doing anything super overpowered. But the deck is just fair, and in my opinion, 50-50 into everything, if not other matchups that it just runs over. And I don't think it has a losing matchup into anything. And then his daughter showed up. I'm going to consider this. If you guys remember last set champs, we had the Hoffen challenge. I probably butchered that, but you had to make your own deck and it had to be not meta. And essentially his daughter here created this deck, and she made it all by herself without any help from Wayne, and just went had a good time. She went to set champs. She played a bunch of people in between rounds and just had a good time running some amazing cards that you don't see very often, but I think we should see more of. It's the cards like the Bolt, questing for 4, Stitch, drawing you a card, gaining you some lore. Mulan, we saw a lot of the Mulan in the not Spin, but oh boy, the 3/7 bodyguard that costs 9. When you have a song, it costs 1 less. We saw a lot of them in that Kristoff. So Mulan, pretty popular in Kristoff. So this deck, a little bit of everything. You know, one of the really powerful things about that Hoffen challenge or Huffin or whatever, however you say it, is that you never know what your opponent's going to play. And that's one of the powerful things about a list like this, you know, is you just never know what your opponent's going to play, and you can get caught off guard when they just run a lot of good cards and just everything. So shout out to her building her own list, going out and having some fun. All right, so next up in our video, we've got PD She. I'm going to have to ask how you pronounce your name. All right, I'll shoot you a message on Discord. But when we're looking at Amber Steel, and this time we're rocking the A Whole New World variant. But one thing to note, no Rhino shift package, all right? So going back, I don't know, you can call it old school at this point because everybody and their mother is running some Rhino shift, and then we see a lot of people running this Robin Hood shift. Well, PD went and took out the Rhino shift and just opted to run the Robin Hood shift with the 10-1 drop. So you're opting to go with this Daisy Duck into Smee package, which is just really quick, and then so against something like Red Blue, you can go Daisy into Smee into Pete into Naveen to seeing a whole new world, or to play Whole New World, and then refill your hand. And something really powerful. He didn't, of course, see that because when you look at his matchups, there was no Red Blue whatsoever. But what a day. Look at all that steel. 6 rounds of steel, 2 being Amber Steel. Rough start to the day, too. You know, starting your first match of the day, being the Saturday, right? The first set champs of the weekend. It always feels bad when you start that way. It's really easy to kind of be demoralized about that and want to continue to do really well. But really coming back, you know, saying it doesn't matter, and then going into Top Cut, being on the draw for at least the first 2, and then coming out to take the win in a 2-0 victory against Green Steel. But the list just doing what Amber Steel does really well. You know, we know how powerful the Robin Hood shift package is. So you can do something like go Cindy into Piglet or Ursula or Smee into a Robin Hood shift Whole New World. Well, you can go Robin Hood into Ursula into Robin Hood. The list is just powerful. And then meanwhile, we have Sonic Warrior to help you control how the massive amounts of Amber Steel that we see running around, opting to only run 3 Zeus. And this is something I haven't personally done since, gosh, probably set 6. I mean, I've been on 4 Zeus for the longest time just because I think the card is just so powerful. But, you know, it's this list goes to show, I guess, especially against all these steel decks, that you just don't need it. So if you find you're getting stuck on that card, or you're Zeusing things that just don't need Zeus, then maybe you opt to run a different option. Maybe you want another Bare Necessities, World's Greatest Criminal Mind, whatever, or just another character. In this case, you know, P just able to go really fast. Against all these steel, probably inked the Piglet a lot, but you have the opportunity to just go really fast if you do run into Red Blue or Red Purple. So really good list. And then I love the Beast. I think Beast is extremely powerful right now. It forces answers from your opponent, whether that's Purple uses an Elsa to turn your Beast sideways and then trades into it. It's a Hades target. It's a Zeus target. Your opponent, maybe they use a Let the Storm Rage on the Beast, and then you have a Rapunzel target. There's just so many opportunities with Beast. And then we still opt to run the Rhino because Rhino on his own is still a very powerful card. He's still a 4/3/2 that has resist +2. Like, the card is just good, all right? And so I really like the list. I like adding in this a little bit of an aggro start to just get you there sometimes, but opting to still have, you know, this bigger control package and a Whole New World. Just a phenomenal card. So really good job taking that first place finish. Really proud of you, man. So next up, we've got the Boofasa Bros. I believe they already made a video on this list, and it's one thing I'll give Boofasa is I feel like every time I see one of their lists, it feels like kind of a toolbox, right? And they run these kinds of lists all the time, or he runs these kinds of lists all the time, and he always does really well with them. And it's definitely not my play style, but again, it kind of goes back to what I mentioned with Wayne's daughter earlier, the Hoffen challenge, where when you run lots of 1-ofs, lots of 2-ofs, you have a triple row list, your opponent is left on their toes, right? Your opponent, if you played 1 Cogsworth in game 1, well, how many Cogsworth do you have now? Now they have to respect that you have that Cogsworth at all times, and that goes for any of these 1-ofs that you're running. The Dragonfires, you play 1 Brawl, they don't know know that you only have 2 in your deck. They don't know, or they probably suspect that you have 4. But the same goes for all of these. So there's a lot of power in kind of playing this kind of toolboxy list. A lot of times we see toolbox in the green purple tempo variants, but you can see that it worked really well for them with red purple. Again, you have all the 1-drops you need, so you kind of cut a little bit of your draw with no brooms, but you get kind of the utility of the Cogsworth and the Pain, that Pain being able to survive against Amber Steel. And if you look at his first place finish, it was Amber Steel. I don't know if Pain came into matter on turn 1, but if you go something like Pain into Ursula or Queen of Hearts, that's a really strong start against Amber Steel, and it's going to give you time as the red-purple player to get that ink, to get going. They can't turn sideways to really get their questing in before you get to those really big power plays where you go B-prep on turn 7, and then now you only need 2 turns before you can go Peter Pan and Maui Half Shark on the same turn, right? So 6, 7, 8, 9, yeah, 2 turns. So that's really powerful. So you go B-prep into something like a Pirate's Life, into Peter Pan plus Maui Half Shark. It's going to be really tough. Steel Song, they're going to have to answer that Peter Pan and the Maui Half Shark, but especially the Maui Half Shark, and then hope that they can, and then hope that you don't have another one in hand to punish them and then get another Pirate's Life back. So you just see how these toolboxy lists can just do really well when you just run a lot of really good cards. So taking first place, really good showing. Again, Boofasa Bros, they have their own YouTube channel. I'll try and remember to put it in the description. Go check them out, and they put a little bit more description on the list and probably talk about why they ran what they did. So congratulations, guys. Next up on our list, we've got Frivera 2226. This gentleman is also known as Freddy, all right, a really prominent Steel Song player down south, down in Florida. We've seen him win the SSG events. We've seen him just do consistently really well. And where he did consistently really well these last 2 weekends, he's not taken his first place, but took a second. And Gabe's a butthead, so I can only imagine that maybe Gabe was on red-blue. I didn't check. Or maybe he just wants the world to know. Gabe, you're a butthead. All right. But looking at the list, that's what we're here for. In finals, it was against Red Blue. And when you run a list like this list can be, these kinds of lists can be a little bit slower, right? We have, when we're running the Beast, the Namari, you're gunning to get to that top end. Now, we can go fast. You do have the Nalas. You do have all these 1-drops, so you're almost guaranteed a 1-drop. And then you can go Smee into Lawrence, into Rhino, and you can just get going really, really quickly. But it's not daisies. It's not piglets and things like that. And we're not running whole new worlds where you can just empty, throw your whole hand on the field and then refill again, right? So instead, we're opting to run the Beyond the Horizon, which also does really well against Red Blue and a lot of other decks. And running that Beyond the Horizon, whether you play it on turn 3, which normally isn't the play unless you're against Red Blue, you just have so many opportunities. It's great into aggro. It's great into a lot of decks that play on a lower hand count because now you can draw cards and they don't get to. Or you can really punish decks that have a bigger hand count. They play a whole new world. You respond with a Beyond the Horizon to empty their hand. Or if you're against Green Steel and they're making you discard a lot, they get all this draw and then you play Beyond the Horizon and they lose it all. So there's a lot of opportunity. And then you have the Beast, you have the Namari to go in and try and win that tempo game. There's so much draw, and just Namari lets you dig for whatever you want. She's a great way to answer the McDuck Manners and a lot of other cards. Anything that wants to go into Namari to take out that 2 quester and that dig power, it's gonna be a trade. A lot of the times it's gonna be 2 for 1 actually. So meanwhile, in that finals match, Carpet Bag, Red Blue started to run this card a lot. It's the 5-drop on Inkable where I believe you exert it, you get to get 1 card, 1 item back in your hand. So they just do that with the Popsicle, and it's just so much draw. So when you're running a list that relies a little bit more on that mid game, it gives cards like Carpet Bag the ability to just get them so much so many cards to just really take the game. But the list is fun. I've played with the list. I think it's really strong. It's really strong into red blue as well. And the deck, definitely give it a try. Again, if you wanted to try 6 2-drops, but going this route with including the Nalas over the 6 2-drops does give you an ability to just go a little bit faster. You play that Nala on 1, she's getting that little bit of incremental lore, and then your opponent has to be careful knowing that Rapunzel value could be coming down on turn 4. So really good job, Freddie. I love to see it, and I'm sure that Matt is coming your way. Next up on our list, we've got Eric with a purple steel opting to run the Merlin's Rabbit and Zeus package and taking first place. And one thing he said is purple steel is just so good into amber steel rhino right now, whether it's aggro or traditional. And I have to agree. I talked about it right at the beginning. I think purple steel is just incredibly slept on still to this point. I think a lot of the reason it is because people just don't enjoy the playstyle very much. Again, like I said, purple steel is the true definition of tempo in every single way. You're not doing anything overpowered ever. You're just playing a card, and they all do something phenomenally well. One of the things, though, that I think makes purple steel so good into amber steel right now is this Fire the Cannons. Fire the Cannons it's just so good in amber steel because you can just blow up their shift package. That baby Rhino, fire the cannons, no big deal. That Robin Hood, no big deal, fire the cannons. Baby Cindy with her overpowered, let the storm rage on or strength of a raging fire, fire the cannons, no big deal. So there's a lot of power in just that one little card that costs 1 and deals 2 damage. Meanwhile, you still have power. You can go the Pete lock where you have Madam M snakes and foxes, but you still have burn with the goats and the cobras. But also when you run something like the Madam M snakes and the foxes, you have the ability to just keep cards readied at all times. And this is going to be really strong in things like red blue, because now you can play a Smee, quest with the Smee, he takes the 1 damage, and then you can quest him with him again. Instead of letting him go down to 1 more health, you bounce him and you replay him. Or you can later on, you can just play the Smee next, and you quest the next turn. You play the snake, and then you play both of them again. And later turns, right, as soon as turn 4. But there's just a lot of strong things you can do. And then meanwhile, you have friends, you have all of these bounce all of these draw power right here on top of the amazing Rabbit and Zeus package. So I think it's a great list. Again, he opted to run the 2 Fire the Cannons over 2 more genies, trying to keep that uninkable count a little bit lower. And yeah, so purple steel, again, if you haven't tried it, give it a try. Just know that it just plays a little bit different, but it's strong. Purple steel, it's just strong. I mean, if you can get to 10 lore, there's a good chance you're going to be in a winning position. All right. So next, and look at all the amber steel he beat. All right. That's 1, 2, 3, 4 amber steels. Just saying. So good job, Eric. I love to see it. Next up, we've got Tegan, and Tegan taking first place and a top 4 this past weekend with a little bit of spice, and maybe more than a little bit, right? So a little bit more than a little bit, because when you look at it, we've got Beyond the Horizon, we've got A Whole New World, but most importantly, we've got Desperate Plan. So looking at this list, we've got the double shift package. We've got the Robin Hood shift package and the Rhino shift package. So a good amount of 1-drops. You're going to see that 1-drop. You're going to see that 2-drop when you're running 3, 6, 7, 8 2-drops. Pretty good odds right there. And then you just have a strong mid game as well. You have different draw opportunities with A Whole New World, Beyond the Horizon, and Desperate Plan. I did ask him, because I personally haven't tested Desperate Plan in Amber Steel yet. It's not something that I've really put a lot of thought into, or even really any thought into, but he loved it. Tegan talked about how he thinks that the future of Amber Steel, if it does get some amount of draw power, more damage songs it will revolve around Beyond the Horizon and Desperate Plan. And that it is good draw. Like, it's really good draw that running that Desperate Plan instead of Doc. You get that one extra draw, which is really good as well for the sake of losing one, costing one extra ink. But meanwhile, looking at the rest of the list, the one, grab your sword to just help out a little bit, with that little bit of AoE. We have the Beast. Again, I love Beast right now. There's no Medusas. There's so much song, right? There's so much steel that they're blasting your Beast so you don't draw, but then you Rapunzel lock them. Like, I think Beast is, again, a phenomenal card. So one thing that Tegan did do is so he won on Saturday against, a lot of, oh man, I messed up they did not have the same matches. So one of these guys I messed up and I didn't get it right. I believe it was Tegan. I don't believe these were Tegan's lists or Tegan's matches, but I'll go back to what I was saying. He did cut a whole new world for his Sunday, and on Sunday he cut the whole new world to run 2 Bare Necessities, and he loved it. He said he wouldn't go back. He thinks Bare Necessities was the right call because it was just a metric ton of red blue. And then in his top 4 match, he got really close to getting that W, that Beyond the Horizon just doing a number on red blue, that Bare Necessities doing a number on red blue. So really good showing, man. Apologies for not getting these matches right, that copy paste right for the next screen, but I love to see it. I love to see the spiciness of the list and the numbers you came up with, and I look forward to hearing how you do for the next couple weekends. Next up, we've got Fries, and Fries didn't go to a set champs, but a 2-day event in Rome, and I think he said there were 85 players. So taking 11th place out of 85 players is something to be really proud of, with a list that is different than what we've been seeing. It's a little bit of what we were seeing last set, and plus some of the things we've been seeing this set. And I think it's pretty awesome. Some of the cards that stand out, we see the 2 Radigans. The Radigan questing, he's a 6/7/4 that quests for, a 6/7 that quests for 4. And the thing to remember is he does have Ward, which is incredibly strong, and then you have to ink. If you don't ink, then Radigan gets banished, right? So really strong card to just help you really close those games out. We're running the Hypnotic Strength. Hypnotic Strength just really good into those other Iagos. You can use it yourself. It's just... The thing I like about Hypnotic Strength is it can be used both ways, whether offensively or defensively, and there's a lot of power in that. It can just beat the stalemates that Iago creates. We're running the giant whale, right? We're running... Why can I not think of his name? It doesn't, the giant whale from Pinocchio, right? So he's really good into red blue, helping you clear those McDuck Manors. He's really good into Amber Steel if they use a whole new world against you. Just a really strong card. And then he still quests for 2, which is awesome. And then we're running the Ursulas. Again, when we see that Amber Steel is as strong as it is right now, when we see that Steel is as strong as it is right now, Ursula's not a bad card to throw in. You get to that 7 ink really quickly. She lets you, they can't sing songs anymore. On top of she quests for 3, she's a 4/7, so she trades into most things. And when she does quest, you can exert one of your opponent's characters. So you can trade in something. Monstro. His name is Monstro. But anyways, you could use Ursula to exert your opponent's character, use Monstro to then challenge said character. So Ursula, just it's kind of a choice. We played against 3 Amber Steels, but a strong choice as well. So we have a lot of that top end package here. The 3 Gastons questing for 3 really trades into other things really well. And, lets you get that extra card. So I like the list. I think it's fun. I think it's different. It's going really big on the top end and then still doing well for the most part against Amber Steel. We lost the first match of the day, but did really well. Unfortunately, lost the mirror. I believe he said he lost at 19. A slight misplay with Radigan at one point, but I mean, he did really well at such a big event. So, and with a list that is unique. So really good job and congratulations, man. Next up, we've got a lady and her prince. We got Sarah and Madison taking first and second place. So the sisters coming in. I don't know if Madison ran a lady and her prince, but Sarah, the older one holding the mat, she did. And it's really awesome to see. This is a deck that I've kind of just been messing around with since the first week of the set. And it is just aggro. It is just go crazy. It is just get cards on the board. You quest out. Your opponent sees, a prince, and then they can't do anything against that prince. So opting to run in this one the Rhino shift package, because again, Rhino just really strong into the current meta. Rapunzel's Tower, again, really strong into this, so much steel, so much purple. So that Rapunzel's Tower giving you great Rapunzel value if you needed it, but also imagine a prince on a Rapunzel's Tower is 0-8. There's not a lot that clears that in one turn. One thing about this list is cutting the Rapunzels down to just run the Spins, because sometimes that Rapunzel, you don't want a 1-5. Against red, you don't really want that one that can get cleared by a baby Caesar, that can get cleared by a Brawl, or you spend time trying to set up a Rapunzel lock when you don't need to. You can just quest and you can just win. So now you can play a Spin, and ready's one of your characters, and then what's purple do except lose? So I love to see it. I'm really proud of both of you, Sarah and Madison. Madison taking second place at the event, Sarah taking first. So a little sister rivalry going on there, but I love to see it. I'm glad you both did so well, and extremely proud of you. So I hope the future weeks go well for you, ladies. Next up, we've got Kyle Snowden, and one thing to note about this young man is he hates Lady. He made sure the world knew that when he posted this list in the Discord. Running red-purple, a deck that he loves, and a deck that I think is in a great place right now. His top 8 match against, if you didn't guess, Amber Steel aggro, but that Lady coming in, and sometimes that Lady can just snowball so quickly. Lady's such a strong card both on the play and on the draw, but when we look at this list, and that's what we're talking about, we do have some cards to try and combat that Amber Steel aggro. This Ursula here, that Challenger +2, a great card right now that can give you that, being a 1/3, the ability to just kind of challenge into your opponent's and it's a 1/3, so it's a little bit harder to get rid of for your opponent. So maybe it stops them questing until they can get 3 characters down and sing Strength of a Raging Fire, things like that. But so that Ursula, a great card that you could play Ursula if they can't quest their Shift Rhino anymore going into turn 3, because Ursula plus the Merlin Crab takes out that baby or that Shift Rhino. Then meanwhile, you have that nasty Peter Pan into Iago combo, or Peter Pan into the Maui Half Shark combo. You have the draw power from Hades, which just, if you can get a Hades down to draw 2 and then he sticks to draw 2 more, phenomenal card. Opting to only run the 2 brawls, so we've cut 2 brawls. We do have the Gloyd in here gaining you that 1 lore, so that probably is where the 3rd brawl went. But then we're running a lot of draw. We have the Finders Keepers, the Library, and the Friends on the other side. So opting to only run the 1 goat, which is interesting. When you're running this Maui Half Shark version, you don't necessarily need those goats as much, and because that Pirate's Life is helping you do what goat would normally do instead. So opting to instead run the Lady Tremaine, great card against a lot of these decks where you can just B prep and then play the Tremaine down, and then meanwhile she still quests for 2. So a really strong list, and just unfortunate, and we see it time and time again where if red purple does not get those exact cards they need, they kind of just get ran over by aggro or Amber Steel because they just can't get things going anymore, and it just happens. But really good list. I love to see it. I'm sure it's gonna go well for you. Next up, we have Hangry Dino. We're seeing another Amber Steel, but a couple, well, at least one card different in this list. Taking third place with the Chernabog, the 993. In this, I love to see it. I've played with Chernabog time and time again, trying to make him work, and he can, but man, does it feel bad when he doesn't. When you get that in your opening hand, this 10 cost uninkable, and you just can't play him. But when he comes down, oh gosh, it feels good. But looking at the list, we're just going fast. And one thing to note with this one, though, is we did try running, or Hangry tried running that Ursula plus Zeus combo. So we do have that Ursula, we do have the 3 Zeus, that ability to just kind of, you can go Daisy, you can do kind of the Steel Song thing a little bit, where you get the 1-drop into the 2-drop Ursula down, and then you can use Zeus to control the board. Personally, I think maybe running, if you are going to run this route, you might want a couple more Ursula, or maybe cut the Zeus a little bit. But I haven't messed with it. He does run the Pluto, which this is one thing that we see every now and again in these aggro lists, and we see Pluto do really well in Blue Steel and the Kiwi versions. We saw a lot of it, but I've seen a lot of people that swear by Pluto. They love him in these Amber Steel aggro lists, and it makes sense why. Being a 5/5, he doesn't get cleared by Rhino, which is awesome. Your opponent has to trade something into the Pluto and then trade the Rhino into it, which is really strong. Pluto also being able to sing Zeus is another benefit of that card. So the list really strong. Unfortunately, losing to Purple Steel, and again, Purple Steel, it's strong right now into Amber Steel. The deck is just strong, period. But you see it did really well. Purple Steel in the 4th round. Did lose to Amber Steel, not sure what version, but red, purple, green, purple, and then red, purple again. So the list just doing well. Amber Steel just extremely strong. And we all know that. And Hangry Dino taking in something a little bit different than we haven't been seeing. So major kudos to him. Next up, we've got Knothead, 14,500. Yep, 14,500, taking second place with a Ruby Sapphire list that has some spice in it. So you gotta respect it. I do like to see it, and it's fun. We see, good too, taking second place. So with this list, what's the spice? Well, it's not. It's kind of just a red-blue control list. We do still have the Maui's and the Pirate's Life, but we cut the McDuck Manors and instead ran some more characters. So we have the big Caesars, we have the Maleficent Dragons. So you have that win condition with the Maui Half Sharks and the Pirate's Life, but you have some of the older control of red-blue running all these Maleficents and these Let It Goes. But then we have the Nothing to Hide, which is another card that you just don't see a lot of. A great 1-cost card. It lets you draw a card, and you get to see what your opponent has. Really strong there. We see the fan, the flames. And even the Kita coming in, awarded character, lets you seeing that how far I'll go. So against something like Amber Steel, that Kita on turn 3 is really strong, because now you can use Kita to seeing how far I'll go if you wanted to go that route, or just use her effect so you get to ink a card and know what you're going to draw the next turn. So you could go either route how you wanted to in that sense. And because ultimately, when you're running all these higher end cards, no McDuck Manors and things like that, you need to get the ramp going. You have to be able to ramp so you can get in control with the Maui's. You can get in control with the Hades, the Caesars, the Dragons, cards like that. And of course, the all-powerful Be Prepared. So Knothead, I think the list is cool. I love the spice in it. It's a type of list that we just don't see very often, because it plays very differently than something that does run McDuck Manor, which is what we normally see. So kudos to you, and really good showing. Next up, we've got Steve taking some Amber Steel, going a little bit old school with the Whole New World, and I love to see it. I love me some Whole New World. So in this list, we're running that ever popular Rhino shift package and the 6 Singer 4s. Again, I'm a huge fan of 6 Singer 4s. I think that it's just being able to see that when you run 4 Zeuses and these strong songs, I think is just so important right now in this meta. And when we look at his matches throughout the day, on day 1 when he took first place, he wanted to see those Singer 4s. Look at all that Amber Steel, the green purple tempo. Like in this, if you look at it, if you, let's say you only run the 4, these matches could just be over. If your turn 2 is Smee and their turn 2 is a Troubadour or Ursula, and then it can just control you then with that Zeus. So I love to see it. I think 6 Singer 4s is the way to go. Opting to run the 3 Aerial Sonic Warriors, which was a top-notch choice. So maybe whether you knew what you were walking into or not, I don't know. But 3 Sonic Warriors into this much character-based gameplay throughout the day, top-notch choice. Really, really good decision there. And then, of course, the 2 Goofies. You know, I've been playing a lot of Justin's list where he ran the 4 Goofies, the Auroras, the Robin Hoods. Goofy's just fun. You can do some really wacky things with Goofy where, you know, you play that Goofy. Of course, the easy one is that he readies Smee and Smee never takes or goes into the next turn with damage, right? Really powerful. But you can also use Goofy to just, maybe you need your characters to be readied against purple. So you play Goofy, and then late in the next turn you hard castle the Storm Rage on to play it on one of your characters. They quest, and then they get readied by Goofy, so they're safe to quest again, kind of like Sven. So I think he offers some really unique lines that other cards just don't. Meanwhile, also questing for 2. So really good showing. And if you all think that your local meta is gonna go and develop into what the meta is developing into, which is a lot of Amber Steel, maybe you need to give this list a try. All right, so really good job, Steve. I love to see it. Next up on our list, we've got my buddy Royce. This is a local over in the Safari Zone area, taking first place. And I'll shout him out. He also won first at our Friday night locals. But one thing he wanted the world to know is Vinnie is MVP. Vinnie is a really strong card. Vinnie, of course, being that 3-cost uninkable 1/4/1. When another one of your characters, when Vinnie is down, if another one of your characters is banished, you get 1 lore. Really powerful, all right? Because let's say that you have this big wide board and a Vinnie down, your opponent can't, it's really hard for them to run something like B-Prep into that because you're going to gain all that lore for all those characters. So they have to try and find a way to remove that Vinnie before removing all of your characters. But even if it's not against red, your opponent now has to figure out, do I, against Amber, like if it's an Amber Steel, do I Zeus a 1/4/1, or do I need to Zeus something like a Lawrence that represents Rapunzel value, really good Rapunzel value, or do I need to Zeus that Calhoun that's just going to stay alive and consistently gain him lore over and over and over again? So Vinnie, just a really difficult card, and being a 1/4/1, he does represent good Rapunzel value also. So the list just going fast. You see that villain arc, because he came with the meta, right? Voice. A lot of people would really know him for Chernadogs at the Ink Cast event. He abused his opponent when they didn't heal with that popsicle. But really fast deck. He loves it. Seeing a lot of success with it. I'm sure, Royce, being a top-notch player that you are, you're going to continue to see a lot of success with it. Love to see it, man, and hope to play against you again soon. And then finally, what I think is one of the neatest lists that I've seen so far this set, we've got this green steel, and I'm always a sucker for some green steel pirates. I really am. I remember seeing green steel pirates at the Hunter Burton Memorial event. I loved it then. And then we see it now. And he claims, Mitchell Kutner, he claims that this is the deck to beat Amber Steel. That this deck just shreds Amber Steel in every way. I didn't ask if it's Amber Steel aggro, or both, but he loves it. He thinks it does great, and it has cards that will do well. Again, this list, it's kind of in that that toolboxy area that I'm not the biggest fan of, but I understand. You know, we got lots of one-ofs going on here. But the list has the opportunity to go really fast against, you know, some red-blue. Curse Merfolk, just a phenomenal card into a lot of decks. It really hurts. Ursula, of course, being, I mean, right now, it's always been one of the strongest 2-cost cards, but it might be, you know, fighting for that first place strongest 2-cost card because there's so much Amber Steel right now. But we have the draw package, we have the questing power of Donald Duck and the draw from Daisy Duck. We have the ability to just do a lot of questing with John Silver, which is just really strong right now. When you're running all these locations, you get something on that hidden cove. Now it's a little bit harder for you to banish. Mosquito Bite, put 1 damage on chosen character. But the deck just really strong. And of course, we're running the Fire the Cannons. When I was talking about Purple Steel, one of the cards that I think is so strong against against Amber Steel is that Fire the Cannons card. So Fire the Cannons, smash. So this deck's going to be really good against Green Steel as well. You know, being able to blow up that Ursula 3-cost. And then you have your own Pete shift, which, you know, doesn't allow them to sing or anything like that. The Mr. Smee package going on, again, really good into Amber Steel as well. The deck is just strong. And then Pete, really good against items. So I love it. And it is a sub $40 deck as well. This wasn't something that he mentioned, but something another person in the Discord mentioned. So if you want to run something different, something your opponents won't expect, something that is good into Amber Steel, this might be the list to try, okay? If you don't like how toolboxy it is, change it up a little, all right? Make it your own. That's okay. You can make these decks your own, and in fact, I encourage it. So Mitchell, really awesome. I love it. I absolutely love to see Green Steel Pirates doing so well. But ladies and gentlemen, with that, that's everything. All right. These are the people that have reached out. These are the people that did really well these past 2 weekends. So again, if you want your list to be featured, whether you did really well, whether you got last place, first place, your list is spicy, I don't care. I want to talk about your list. I want to, we'll go back to this screen. I think that it makes people feel good, and I want to talk about your list, and I want to help you feel good and be happy, because that's what it's all about. That's been a huge thing for the channel. That's been a huge thing that I aim for. Life's a little tough sometimes, so we should get any opportunity we have to just be happy. With that being said, though, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for your support and everything. It means the world to me. It is part of something that does make me happy. But remember, nothing matters more but staying happy and healthy. So, ladies and gentlemen, until next time.